Welcome back to another episode of Plant-Based Dads. I'm Joey. We are a Whole Foods vegan family channel. We do try out some recipes, we try out new products, sometimes there's some DIY, occasionally there's a bacon with Tim. If you like what you hear so far, please hit that like button, show us some love, and think about subscribing and becoming part of the Plant-Based Dads family. If you've been following the channel lately, you know that I'm doing the Starch Solution. The Starch Solution is a way of eating where you eat high starches, high carbs, low fats, all whole food plant-based foods, and you lose weight. It's worked for me. I've lost 30 pounds, and I just love being able to eat and not restricting myself on calories. It's definitely worked for me. Right now we're in the middle of our 21-day Starch Solution Holiday Challenge. It's a bunch of us doing the Starch Solution and trying to commit to eating 3 meals a day, 50-50 plate, or the 25-75, however you do it, getting enough exercise, getting some more water, and just supporting each other. Most of it's happening on the Facebook group or Instagram. The Facebook group is a picture of it right here, Plant-Based Dads Starch Solution Enthusiasts. If you haven't joined yet, go ahead and join the Facebook group, and we'll be able to help you there. You can chat with me directly. All right, so today's episode, hey everyone, it's Tim.
Hey, welcome.
Are you joining me?
Yes.
All right.
What's cooking?
All right, here's what's cooking. By the way, Tim's modeling the new shirt from the merch site. There'll be a link to the merchandise in the description below the video, and the shit, depending on your device, you just see the merchandise shelf also, where you can click on it. All right, so you know what we're making today?
So we were making the Fire Engine House Brigade stuffing, I think?
We're making the forks over knives stuffing, Fire Brigade stuffing. This is the one the Esselsteins make, right?
Yeah,
and
this one just looks more interesting than what we've made in the past. So
yeah, so we've made cornbread stuffing and all that stuff before, but this one has a lot of ingredients in it, and it's all kinds of fun stuff, right?
yeah, it looks interesting, like it's going to be great.
All right, so let's go ahead and get started and start prepping the food.
All right, so let's get started. What's the first thing you want me to start chopping?
Okay, so let's get the ingredients ready. So I've already done some of the work as far as dicing, but we're going to need to take the mushrooms, because I refuse to deal with mushrooms, and those have to be kind of sliced up. Now, I did buy some of the mushrooms sliced, so maybe we'll just lay them out and dice them up.
Yeah, so I think in the recipe they called for just a regular mushroom, but we went ahead and we got some shiitake, we got some Bella sliced mushrooms.
Because you know how much I love mushrooms.
Yes, so it maybe doesn't change flavor so much, but each one brings out different characteristics for our health.
Yes.
So,
all right, so you're going to dice those up and get those going, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Me, I could just leave them whole sliced, but because there is going to be some shrinkage as well. But, all right. So this is my new knife. I just feel like because of its size that maybe I would be less likely to chop a finger off, but anyway.
Two things I don't like, knives and mushrooms.
You're going to see a lot more of this, though. There are definitely, but people have benefited from a mushroom regime.
So there's a whole mushroom wave happening, right? Yeah. And there's like mushroom coffee now. There's like mushroom-based so many things. So mushrooms are definitely kind of in right now, and it's really like hitting the market strong.
Yeah.
The interesting thing on the Starch Solution is that mushrooms are not a plant, right? Okay. They're not a starch or a fat, right? So mushrooms are separated from, is this a starch or is this a non-starchy vegetable when you're doing the Starch Solution? Okay. So you can have them in addition, but you still need to have your starches and your non-starches. All right, so while that's happening, I'm going to get the pan turned on here. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is get the saute going here, right? Okay. Let's grab a little spoonful of broth. Yeah, if you want to pour it, just a little bit in.
I've already got a little broth here.
I don't want it to change the temperature of the pan. I think that's good.
Good. Okay. Ready for me to put some in?
Yeah, I would do the other stuff first. Oh, I guess they all have to
you
win
tell
at the
me
same
what you
time.
want. What do you want?
Let's go with the celery, the carrots, and the onions. So here's what we're putting in here. We've got 3 cups of diced celery. It doesn't have to be diced. That's just the way I like it. All right. You can hear the induction cooktop. We just turned it on. It's already sizzling, right?
Yeah.
We've got a whole onion that's been diced.
So it looks like 1 cup, right? Yeah,
it actually turned out to be a cup, but I just took 1 onion and diced it. And then we've got 2.5 cups of carrots kind of sliced up. I don't know if this pan's going to be big enough for all this, but okay. All right, so it's been cooking for a few minutes, right?
Yeah, it looks like it's softened up a little bit. We've got a 1/2 cup of broth down.
Well, let's get the mushrooms first, because the mushrooms are going to add a lot of water, right?
Okay.
And get those incorporated.
I'm proud of you, Joey. You didn't skimp on the mushrooms. This is great.
Just throwing these in here. I'm like, can I pick them out and I'm gonna eat them?
No, there's gonna be so many textures in this with the bread, carrots and celery. We have some fruit.
I hope so. I'm just not a fan of mushrooms, but I'm gonna brave it.
Just trust me on this one.
All right.
All right.
And let's put in a half a cup of water. Are we doing a measuring cup or something? You're just gonna.
Okay.
Never mind.
All right. Yeah, it's looking good.
All right, so I think we're at the point where the vegetables have cooked down, right? We're at like half the size we were before. It smells really good.
And your fear is gone. Look at the size of those mushrooms. They have shrunk down.
I'm still very afraid.
No.
Yeah, I can't pick them out. They're so small.
It's really gonna be wonderful.
All right, but I'm just gonna go with it. All right, so now we're gonna grab our bowl right here. We're gonna combine our toasted bread. So what we have here is 3 different types of bread. So we have a pumpernickel bread, we have a rye bread, and then we have your sourdough bread that I've cut up and popped it in there, which is absolutely delicious. You can see a link right up here for Tim's sourdough bread. Check that out. So into that, so we have like 15 slices of bread.
Yeah, so they came in loaves, like little loaves already sliced.
There's a picture of them right here, the 2 that we bought.
And then you just cut these up.
I just slice them up, I put them in the oven, right?
Put them on a pan.
On a pan, spread them out in the oven for 275 degrees for like 45 minutes. I kept turning them and kind of moving them around, and it just dried out, right?
This is not overly crisp, this is gonna be nice.
And so why do we drying out the bread if we're gonna add a bunch of liquid to it? Because we have like 6 cups of liquid going in.
So I think it's because so it doesn't fall apart.
So dry bread absorbs moisture and liquid better than regular bread. The regular bread would just fall apart. You're right.
I didn't know that, but yeah, if I thought about it, that makes sense.
All right, so let's get started on here. So to that bread right there, we're gonna add the cooked vegetables. So let's shut this off right here. So you can take this if you want. And
pour it in here?
Yep, pour it right in there.
This is a non-stick stand pan we're using. It's always nice to have. All right, I'm just incorporating this, Joey. Tossing it a little bit.
Let me get rid of this here. We don't need this. All right, so to that, we're gonna add some other things, okay?
I mean, doesn't this look already more interesting than the cornbread stuffing we usually have?
Yes,
like this is got some dark, some light, like.
Okay, we're putting in. They use 2 apples and a pear, a green apple, a red apple, and a pear, right?
Okay.
So let's jump into that here. You've got those apples right there, then you have your knife. So let's core them, and then we'll cut them into small pieces.
You said you've already cleaned this, right?
Yeah, all the apples have been cleaned. I cleaned everything. We're not making anything that hasn't been cleaned. Yeah. Are the pears too hard, or how are they?
I think it's perfect for this application, right? You want it to be a little.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. So I see you've got a Granny Smith, and this is a Honey Crisp. Nice choice.
Yep.
Good choice. Okay. So am I dicing this up then?
Yes.
Okay.
And then cut off some of the bad parts in the end and all that.
These are bad part. Okay. We're ready to load this in?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then next we're gonna add some cranberries and some almonds. As far as cranberries, we're doing a cup of dried cranberries. Now, we've got a mix of both. We're gonna do a half a cup of each.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. A little half of dried and the whole. So just to let you guys know what works. Just a lot of times it's hard to find dried without oil. So having the fresh is always nice. You know? So we've got a half a cup of dried, and then we're gonna put in some whole cranberries, and I'll do a half a cup of this. So.
All right, I'm just gonna kind of separate these so they're not all clumped in one big cranberry glob.
Okay, and I'll wash this in the meantime. Okay.
All right, so now we're throwing in a half a cup of actual cranberries, right? All right, so that's in, and so next we're gonna put in some of the almonds. So we're using 7 ounces of slivered almonds. That's just under a cup. All right, we're just gonna do half a cup. That's a lot of almonds.
Like we said, you don't have to take a lot of almonds, but this just seems a lot to us. So we're gonna do a half a cup. Again, there's gonna be so many things that make this interesting.
Yeah.
So that look like 2 ounces. Okay, so
Jane Nelson's not worried about her weight or her figure. She's already in good shape. So
that's a compliment.
We kind of are. Yeah.
We're not there yet.
No.
So let's. But again, one more element to make this really an interesting.
All right, so throwing the almonds. Now we're gonna throw in the spices. Are you ready?
Okay.
All right, so we're gonna do. Okay, it says now. Hang on. It says 2 to 3 tablespoons of dried sage. Now, that is a lot of dried sage, right? I think we should put in. I mean, smell that. What does it smell like? That's a lot. That's strong, right?
Yeah. What are we doing?
2 to 3 tablespoons. I think that's too much. All right, so we're gonna do 1 tablespoon of sage.
Okay, with 1 tablespoon, we've got coverage on this whole thing. It's a strong flavor.
Yeah, so you guys do you on this. We're doing 1 tablespoon, right? The next one is 2 teaspoons of thyme.
Teaspoons.
Yeah.
1 and 2.
Next, we're putting in 1 tablespoon of oregano.
Yeah, to go with that sage, there's plenty of other green stuff we're putting in here. So, yeah, okay.
And then a 1/2 teaspoon of salt.
That's good to start. This doesn't seem like very much, but that's good. We can always salt the flavor.
Yep. And then we're going to do about a 1/2 teaspoon of freshly ground pepper. You can just grind it.
All right, so some pepper.
We're going to do a half a teaspoon of ground pepper. So just a bunch of, I mean, to me, you can't have too much pepper, so. All right, I think that's good. And then we're going to put we're going to put a teaspoon of garlic powder.
You sure? Just 1 teaspoon?
That's enough, yeah. All right, so now this gets mixed up, and then we're going to add our broth.
Okay.
I mean, it does look really good, right?
Oh, that's why I was looking forward to making this. This looks so much more interesting than our cornbread.
This is going to be really good with our lentil loaf recipe we have right here, right?
That topping, by the way, is a winner on that one.
Oh, on the road? Yeah.
Good job with that.
I love that topping, yeah. And it's also going to go really good with our creamy mashed potatoes, which we have a link right here. I make those potatoes now every week. If you're a high-carb, low-fat, starch-based eater, right? Like, you do not have to skip the holidays. The holidays are all about starches, right? Like the potatoes and the stuffing and all that stuff. Now, you probably want to make it yourself, right? So there's no butter, no fat, and all that in it. But eat as much as you want of this stuff because, like, the holidays are about starches, and we're not giving that up.
Yeah, and even the apple pie, you can modify that without the crust. So I'm working on a pear apple thing with some allspice, so we'll see. But
all right, so in this we're putting 4 to 6 cups. That is 6 cups. So put in 4, leave 2 cups, and let's start with that.
Okay. Joy and I are a little concerned because we hear quite a bit of sloshing. Like there's a lot of juice in there, but again, this is supposed to absorb it all. That's where the flavor's at.
Yeah, the bread's in the position to start absorbing, so it should start doing that and soaking all that up. It's going to take a few minutes, but that should happen. The last ingredient here is a 1/2 cup of tawny port. Tawny port wine. So we got this at Total Wine up at Desert Ridge, right? It was like $15.
Anyway, but I read what was in tawny port, and it's got things from figs to a little nutty flavor to some raisin, like sweetest. So anyway, I had a little taste of it. It is dynamic. So I feel like it's kind of worth the trouble putting this in. And if that's what they were doing in the original recipe, I think it should stick to it.
All right, so a 1/2 cup of that. I'm going to take the...
Oh, yes. I had maybe too much.
Okay. Give me a straw.
Should I aerate this? No.
All right, so that's it. Let's mix that in. And let's see if it's now soaking any of this up or if it's still just sloshing. It looks like it is soaking it up.
And if it is a little wet, that's okay. It's going to evaporate when we cook this, right?
Yeah. So this looks really good. Look at the colors in there.
I can smell it.
Yeah, this looks like Thanksgiving.
This is going to be a mouthful of flavors. I'm really looking forward to this. All right, I think we've incorporated this quite a bit, Joy. So everything should be mixed up here.
Blend and toss until uniform, mixed, and soggy. I think that we're there, right?
Yes, yeah.
We want to transfer this to a lasagna pan.
Okay.
So let's go ahead and get ready for that.
Well, Joey, my parents are in Florida right now. They can't really travel, but I can't wait to share this with them.
Oh, they're going to love this.
Do you remember that one year we ended up eating all the vegan dressing anyway?
Yeah, all right, so we've known each other for 16 years, right?
I thought it was 18.
Okay, so you're going to pour this in here, right?
Yeah.
We don't need to butter or anything, just pour it in. So, and for the last, 13 years or 14 years, I've been a vegetarian. And, the very first year I was a vegetarian, we went up to Tim's family's house for Thanksgiving, and Tim's mother made stuffing, and she makes the stuffing with, like, the giblets and all that stuff in it, right? And then she announces to everyone, okay, everyone, dinner's ready, and no one's on a diet today, Joey. And I was like...
At that time, no one knew what being a vegan or vegetarian
I was a vegetarian at the time, and I was like, I'm not on a diet, I'm a vegetarian, right? So there was that. Well, the next year we came back, right? And she had her stuffing, which was, everyone's favorite, and she had made a separate one for me with no animal products in it, right? Yeah. Which was amazing. I was like, the bad part about it is everyone had their stuffing, and then I had a pan this size of stuffing for me that I was the only one eating, and I'm like, oh my God, I had like this little bit, and I'm like, now I feel like I need to eat the whole thing, right? Because I feel bad, right?
Yeah.
So that was one issue with it, but I was so happy she did that. And then, like a year later, we went back up again for Thanksgiving, right? And we were making the stuffing, right? People hadn't arrived yet, and as they had arrived, she had pulled out both stuffings, the giblet stuffing and mine, right? And by this time, she was like right on with my stuffing, and her stuffing had burned. Do you remember that?
The other one?
Yeah.
Because when everyone's arriving, you can easily lose track of
She got distracted,
time.
right.
Yes.
So she was really kind of, because her food is everything and people come for this, and she's like, what do I do? And I'm like, just serve them my stuffing, like they're not gonna know the difference. And that's what we did, right? So we just used my stuffing, there was plenty of it, and we dished it out to everyone, and people were like, oh man, the stuffing's so good this year, the stuffing's so good. They had no idea, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's kind of our story. I mean, they were having it with turkey, of course, but that's kind of our story about, like, we replaced the giblet stuffing with our stuffing, with his mom, and no one knew the difference.
Yeah. Anyway, this time of the year we reminisce. We have a lot of stories and memories that are really great. But again, I can't wait to share this. This looks amazing. I've kind of packed it all down so it's in the juice, so everything gets treated the same. But look at, you can see pears and apples. I can't wait to see what the effect is of baking these.
It's going to be amazing.
Flavor. Yeah.
So we need to put, as much as I hate using aluminum foil, we need to put a sheet of aluminum foil to cook this for 45 minutes. Yeah, okay. So let's grab that. Okay. And we're going to bake this for 45 minutes. The oven is heated to 350, so we're going to heat this for 350. She has at 350 for 45 minutes to an hour. So we're going to do 350 at 45 minutes, and then I think we should take the top of this off for the last 15 minutes, and then cook it without the top on.
Absolutely. So it'll brown or crispen up a little bit.
All right, let's get this into the oven. All right, so here we are, right?
Yes.
So it looks really good, I gotta tell you. It smells good, it looks good. Let's give this a shot. So it turned out to be a beautiful casserole, right?
I mean, hot dish. All right, so look at the color on this. Looks good. It's going to look great.
I'm ready to try this. All the breads, all the vegetables. Let's give it a shot. Wow. Okay, it's definitely enough sage. Like, I can't imagine having 3 times the amount of sage in there, right?
Yeah. The apple's not too sweet. And I had a carrot as well. Not too sweet.
So,
and the texture's good.
When we were making this, we did have an issue with it, right? Like, we used the 4 cups of water, and after the hour, it was still soupy, right?
Yeah, it was boiling along the sides, right? So when you take that out, eventually some is going to be absorbed and it's going to calm down.
Yeah.
But we thought it was just too much still.
So what we did was, when we had cut up the bread, we had used half of all the bread that we cut up. So we threw the rest of the bread into the pot and mixed it all in, and that bread absorbed all of that water. So it is now like almost like stovetop stuffing, right?
Yeah. All right, so if you're going to make this at home.
If you're going to make it at home, right? Reduce the amount of water you're using. Reduce it by, I would say, half instead of the 4 cups.
Or be prepared with a little bit of extra breadcrumb to put in there.
Which is what we did. Yeah. So otherwise, yeah, just put a lot more bread. It's all going to depend on, I guess, how dried out your bread is, right? Because the drier that bread is, the more water it's going to absorb. We just threw it in the oven this morning because it was kind of fresh bread, right?
Yeah.
To dry it out. But if you can leave it out for a little while to dry out, then you'll probably get a better product.
I think because of the length of time this is cooking and the amount of moisture, you can have a really dry crumb, a really dry bread.
Okay.
So I think we could have toasted them more too.
Yeah, probably. So, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, Fire Brigade stuffing, absolutely delicious. Going on our Thanksgiving menu, right?
Yep.
Oh, you know what I just realized? I'm eating this. I don't really taste the mushrooms. Like, the mushrooms aren't sticking out because normally I pick every single one out because I can't eat them because they're slimy. Yeah. Actually, it works really well in here, right?
So, what if one of your kids or your spouse doesn't like mushrooms? I mean, maybe don't make a big deal. They're not even going to notice they're in here.
All right, guys, that's our video for today. Please hit that like button. Show us some love. What's not to like? We got beautiful Thanksgiving stuffing.
We're using this.
Well, we were making this for Thanksgiving, and that was why we tried this recipe. So I think we can probably just freeze what we have, because that's a huge amount. Oh, we'll probably eat it this week. So if you haven't subscribed yet, please hit that subscribe button, become part of the Plant-Based Dads family, and you'll get notified every time we have a new video, usually every Monday. If there's a DIY, that's on Wednesday. And if you've got Baking with Tim, that's on Saturday. And leave a comment below. What are you doing for Thanksgiving? Do you have it all planned out? You making stuffing? You doing something else? Right? We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Take care.